Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have triple duty. We're doing Truck Series action from Mid-Ohio, Xfinity Series action from the Indianapolis Road Course, and then Cup Series from Indianapolis for the Oval with the Brickyard 400 in the second consecutive season of the Oval's return to the Cup Series. We're coming into this weekend with an announcement from Kevin Harvick. As you guys know, him and Austin Dillon will be co-owners at RCR next season as Richard Childress is set to step down. So let's take a listen on Harvick's announcement.
I'm excited to announce our driver lineup for next season as we expand Richard Childress Racing to a 3-car operation. Austin Hill will move into the 3-car as we bring over Alex Bowman to pilot the number 31. Our third driver will be Xfinity prospect Jesse Love, who will pilot the number 33 next year.
How about that 3-car operation? The 8 cars gone. Austin Hill to the 8. Alex Bowman, who won last episode in the Cold Lake 16 car to get into the playoffs in Kansas, he will be headed to Richard Childress Racing. Hopefully a solid foundation and a new home for Alex Bowman will settle well for him. And then they bring up Jesse Love. They've stolen Jesse Love from Toyota, from Joe Gibbs Racing, and they're bringing him over. And that's also raising questions why Harvick and Austin Dillon have decided not to bring up one of the RCR Xfinity drivers, such as Chase Purdy, who's been doing phenomenal at the team. And it sounds like Chase Purdy is actually quite unhappy about that, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Parker Retzlaff as well has done great there for that team, so you have to wonder what went into the decision to go after Jesse Love, who currently has not won an Xfinity race yet here. Now, as we come through into qualifying from this Brickyard 400, after that news from Harvick and RCR and Austin Dillon and whatnot, as they look to redo that whole team and kind of bring it back to where it used to be way back in the day, of course, now. But a goal of a 52.077 here in qualifying through turn 4, the big rounded rectangle of Indianapolis Motor Speedway down the front stretch to the line. We beat the goal quite easily with the 51.470, and we qualify P7, so pretty happy with a qualifying effort like that. Inside the top 10, Ty Gibbs, our teammate, on pole. Chase Elliott, P2, Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Chastain, SVG, all in front of us. Ryan Preece inside the top 10 as you see the rest of the qualifying order on your screen. Last episode winner Alex Bowman down in 33rd, Suarez 38th. Newgarden, who will be in the field for Penske this weekend in their third car, qualifies at the bottom of the grid. As we roll through into Truck Series duties here from Mid-Ohio this weekend, so like I said, we're doing all 3 races, all 3 series this weekend. We had to start in the back from Mid-Ohio because we missed qualifying due to, well, important duties, of course, of practice and qualifying in the Cup Series. So focusing in on just moving our way forward here as we continue to just really just try and bring this Truck Series team up and help them going forward with this Tricon team. But excited to see how they progress going into, I guess, future seasons of this career mode now. But I was having a pretty good race. We would climb up into the top 15 pretty easily. This is now stage 2 at this point now, and yeah, we were just kind of slowly working our way forward, but wasn't really expecting to have a truck capable of winning this race now as we're looking up the inside of Tyler Ankrum and actually having a big moment on this final lap of stage 2. Watch my rear view mirror as we're going down the straightaway. Tyler Ankrum blows a tire and actually drives straight into the back of me. I had no idea that was coming, and then of course we get shoved off the racetrack and then major contact after the fact as we were trying to get back going, giving Ankrum a bit of a shot to the bumper. Obviously there was not really much he could do. He blew a tire, he had no control, but nonetheless wasn't thrilled about it. But we would spend the rest of the race trying to rebound. It helped that we had a stage caution, of course, come out, and we would eventually find a way into the top 10, actually now up into 9th place behind Lane Riggs in the number 38, as we just continue to move our way forward behind Brett Holmes, now looking for the overtake on him in these closing laps. And yeah, it's not going to be a winning day here in the Truck Series, but it's going to be overall I guess you could just say a solid day here now as we come into these closing moments of this race. We would get one more pass done on Josh Bilicki and bring it home in the 6th position here from the Truck Series now. So overall, pretty happy with that. It was Parker Kligerman who picked up the win. Matt Mills in P2, he's had a heck of a season. Bailey Curry, Tony Bradinger in the top 5, so both of our cars in the top 6. Great efforts there towards the bottom of the grid Tyler Ankrum, of course, last now. Xfinity Series action as well here from the Indianapolis road course in this Joe Gibbs number 19. We have had a very solid season in the part-time schedule that we've done in the Xfinity Series. 2 wins on the board, looking for a third here today. Now, because of the 2 wins that we have, of course, the game puts us in the playoffs, so I'm going to actually have to do the Xfinity Series playoffs manually because it has me in the playoffs when I'm a part-time driver, so obviously it would cause issues. So we will be doing the playoffs manually, and when I say that, just manually keeping tracks of the points and whatnot. So here in the Xfinity race, so I was moving my way forward from the back to the front quickly as well. We actually had an inspection issue that put us to the back in this race, but it did not really seem to matter. It wasn't holding us back. We were now passing Williams, so while it's our Joe Gibbs teammate there for the top 5 position, this is now stage 2, and we were just continuing to move our way forward. Connor Zilisch out in front as he continues to get stronger in this Xfinity Series, still looking for that first win, however, in the series as we go up the inside of former teammate and I guess rival of AJ Allmendinger, but Zilisch would win stage 2, but we would see split strategy at the end of the stage in the pit stops, which would shuffle myself, Zilisch, Allmendinger all down to about 5th, 6th, 7th here, as we would now have some work to do. And JJ Yaley was out in front over Jesse Love, of course, who just got announced that he's going over to Richard Childress next season. There's some contact. Zilisch and the 9 of Brandon Jones go off track, but they keep it back on and they get going, but just a bit of an awkward moment there off my front bumper now as we focus in on going forward. Up the inside of Love, we would pass him and we would run down JJ Yaley in the process as well, and we'll go around the outside in the penultimate corner and take the lead, and that was it. We would run away, and for the 3rd time this season, we come through to win an Xfinity Series race. 2 Cup wins, 3 Xfinity wins. It's been a heck of a season so far. Ty Dillon would end up 2nd over Zilisch. Yaley actually had to pit before the race would end there as Chase Purdy was down in P20. Jesse Love also had to pit. He ended up down in 30th place, so a rough ending for him. Let's get ready to go Cup racing now Sunday for the Brickyard 400.
The Brickyard 400 is set to kick off here in Indianapolis, the 3rd of 4 crown jewel events we see in the season. Alex Bowman won last week, totally altering the playoff grid.
Bowman, the showman, turned up in Kansas and totally changed everything. If we see another new winner, Tyler Reddick will be in serious trouble as he will be out of the playoffs while 7th in the standings.
On top of that, Bowman was just announced to Richard Childress Racing in their 3rd car for next season. A great 2 weeks for him.
All right, team, crown jewel race, so let's just stay after it all day and try to be there at the end.
Love the idea. Let us know what you need as the race goes on here.
Ready to roll, then Denny Hamlin still in search of his first win, but as we see this sudden wave of changes here recently, we have had 2 surprise winners with Chase Briscoe at Pocono, as well now Alex Bowman last episode. This puts Hamlin, of course, in a must-win, and same for potentially Bubba Wallace. Carson Hocevar apparently looking really fast. This is, of course, a big race for the Andretti team, so we'll wait and see how they do. Now, of course, it's kind of like home for the Andretti team now. So much history at this track and in IndyCar in general. Racing here from the Brickyard 400, the 3rd crown jewel of the season, and Ty Gibbs leads the way into turn number 1 alongside Chase Elliott. A little bit of Hendrick Motorsports news coming into this episode. Everything appears to be back to normal for the Hendrick program in terms of they should have the normal speed that we're used to seeing from Hendrick, but Elliott's been taken 3 wide. Chastain goes through to 2nd. What a move from Chastain in the opening moments of this first lap as well. We're on the inside of SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen now looking to the inside of Bubba Wallace, who's getting held up. It seems like the 9 car, although Hendrick apparently is back to normal. That 9 car is not normal because he's going the wrong direction very quickly. Chastain already leads the way. He has passed Ty Gibbs. He brings Reddick through with him into 2nd. Bubba Wallace will go around the outside of the 9. That's how you know the 9's struggling, and Carson Hocevar is coming up behind us as well in that number 26. Watch out for Carson Hocevar apparently here today. Now we look up the inside of Bubba Wallace into turn number 1. Can't quite complete the pass. That 23 looking very quick as well, and Hocevar, he's going to go around the outside of Elliott as well. As you see, Bubba passes Ty Gibbs. We'll follow Bubba Wallace as well and try to complete the pass. This will move us up into P4. So only 2 laps in, and we've gone gone from 7th to 4th, so a very competitive start to this race here. As you look in the rear view mirror, though, you see Hocevar's past Ty Gibbs as well. So into the top 5 goes that number 26 Andretti Machine, as we're right to the back of Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Wallace is now past Chastain. I make a move up the inside of the 45, but we kind of miss the apex. We wash up a bit there, and here goes Hocevar to the inside. What a bunch of speed that 26 has. Could we see another surprise winner? If we see another top 30 in points driver win today, this is going to be such a fascinating scenario. Bubba Wallace would be out, and Tyler Reddick as well would be at risk of being out going into these final few races. So it is such a fascinating situation, and you can see Hocevar now into 2nd on track in front of Ross Chastain, passing his protege kind of. As we think about as well the bracket challenge today, we are going up against Brad Keselowski here in the bracket challenge. We're just going to kind of focus in on that 6th, and then of course we'll get the updated look of everybody else here a little bit later on now as we continue to just try and reel in Chastain. But look at Bubba Wallace. He is driving away here past the halfway point now in stage number 1. If it goes green to the end of the stage, we will need to come into the pits. You can go about 13 or so laps on a tank of fuel. So we've got enough fuel to go on for a few more laps, but wouldn't be surprised if we see a caution here in these next few laps now. Everyone kind of figuring it out with these tires, and sure enough, around goes the 8 of Austin Hill. Just announced he will be driving the number 3 at RCR next season. The caution flies for the first time here today, and everybody's going to come into the pits now for 4 tires. I didn't really make much adjustments there. I did add a little bit of grill tape, but just wasn't enough laps to really get an idea. So we're going to kind of finish out the stage and then kind of determine what to do after that. So we're going to get back racing here. We gain 1 spot in the pit lane, passing Chastain. 5 laps to go behind us. How about Kyle Larson? For the first time since those penalties really were handed down, he's looking very speedy. He's in row 3, P6 there now up the inside of Carson Hocevar on the exit of turn number 1 as we roll through turn number 2 side by side with that 26 Andretti Global Machine. 1 win to that team's name so far after 1 full season under their belt. Of course, Corey LaJoie won the Daytona 500, which really set himself up to get a ride at Hendrick Motorsports, and obviously that has not worked out, but in their 2nd full-time season, they are still seeking a 2nd win. Hocevar and Sammy Smith, the full-time drivers for the Andretti team. Of course, they have a 3rd car entered today. Should point that out. Marco Andretti is in the field in that number 98 car now. Of course, he has been full-time this season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as we pull in line behind Chastain, who passes us on the outside. 4 laps to go already here in stage 1. Larson side by side behind us with Tyler Reddick. Christopher Bell trying to sneak up in the mix. How about Denny Hamlin? Denny Hamlin is in the mix as well in that FedEx Toyota Camry, but he's going to have to win. And if Todd Gilliland gets into the top 30 and we see another new winner, Reddick for sure is in a must-win situation. Tyler Reddick in the top 10 in the points could miss the playoffs because he hasn't won a race. We're looking at Denny Hamlin going into the Daytona regular season finale. We're probably going to be in a position where teamwork is going to have to make the dream work. I wouldn't be surprised if you see us kind of investing all our resources into getting Denny Hamlin into victory lane. Chastain goes around right on our nose. We avoid it. My goodness, what a close call there. The caution's out, and that will end stage 1 prematurely. A lap and a half remains. Bubba Wallace, your stage winner over Carson Hocevar, rounding out the top 10. Keselowski, Todd Gilliland in 9th, 2 points to his name. That is going to be very helpful to his quest to get into the top 30. We're going to make some adjustments here. Chastain is out of the race with that tire failure, but we're going down on the wedge to about 49.7. On top of that, I put the tire pressures, the right side tire pressures, up to 42 psi from about 41. We'll see what kind of changes it makes to this car, which drove pretty good in stage 1, but not quite good enough. We pass Hocevar in the pits now. We go behind the camera to start stage 2. 17 laps, 1 additional lap as we roll through the gears, shifting into 4th on that sequential shifter. There you see on the left side of your screen, we pin it right there on that right rear quarter panel. Our goal to keep him from clearing us, of course, into turn 2, but he does it anyway. So Larson's gonna get taken 3 wide behind us. Reddick says thank you very much, slips through, and Bell in the mirror, he hits the wall, so that destroys the momentum of all those guys. Now Hocevar clear for 2nd. We'll tuck in behind him, now jump to the inside, but accidentally got into his back bumper, so I gave him a bit of a boost there. So he stays and maintains that second position. Reddick 4th place behind us in 3rd. Waiting to see how these adjustments are really going to help or maybe negatively affect this car. It's really hard to get an idea early on, but I mean, if the first 2 laps mean anything, it's looking pretty good. We're hanging with these guys, but look at behind us. Reddick is really off the pace right now. Clearly they've gone the wrong way with that 45 car, but it seems Larson and Bell are struggling really hard to pass him, so the gap is increasing drastically to 4th place on bank every lap because Reddick is so far off, but for whatever reason, it seems like they cannot find a way to get around that 45, and we're kind of seeing it here. It doesn't look like Bubba Wallace is as strong as stage 1, and it looks like Hocevar has a car that can beat him now. We're 2 seconds ahead of Reddick and Bell in 4th and 5th, and you can see, though, as these laps are going on, I am starting to fade back here. Wallace and Hocevar are starting to drive away, but the gap to the cars behind is still increasing, but I was starting to slip and slide quite a bit here, as you can see me chasing it up on the exit of turn 2, and this would continue. They continue to drive away. Bubba Wallace first, Hocevar 2nd, not really changing there, but I am really starting to struggle with this car. Alright, we need to go back to what we had because I am hanging on. This is not good to drive.
Yep, we see it. Sorry, mate, just hang on here. We can pit early as we won't lose a lap under green here.
You hear that on the radio, so we can pit early because we will not lose a lap pitting under green unless we were to do something stupid like speeding. So we're going to make sure we don't do that here today now, but you can see I'm continuing to struggle. Watch us slide at a turn 4. They are long gone, 3 seconds down the road. We're 3 seconds ahead of Reddick. They still cannot pass the 45. That's embarrassing. So finally, we are going to pit here, coming to the end of lap 9. I just can't take it any longer. We're sliding, even trying to get into the pits. We speed into the pit lane. I am so stupid. So sorry. I'm so sorry. And now we are going to go a lap down. Ignore the fact that I am inside of Ross Chastain currently doing my pit stop, but waiting for the penalty. We would lose a lap as it turns in from, a 15-second pit stop to, well, double that, 30 seconds. Absolutely devastating, and you can see the 23 and the 26 are long gone down the road, so now hoping for no caution. If a caution comes out, we will be the lucky dog, so we'll be on the lead lap, but we'll just be, at the back of the field, where if it stays green, we could still probably come out of this, maybe even with a top 15 in stage 2, due to the fact that a whole bunch of cars are being held up from the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Now, here we are, passing Blaney, passing Kyle Busch, getting to the back of Legacy Motor Club's Eric Jones. We'll look up the inside of him. You see John Hunter Nemechek there, increasingly rumored to be in that 11 car next season. Watch the track map. Bubba Wallace now into the pits on the exit at turn 4. A dominant day for the number 23. He'll kick off the actual, green flag pit cycle pretty much at this point. Hocevar in with them. Several others pitting as well, but Larson stays on the racetrack. Larson to the lead. We pass the 42 around the outside now, as we are, of course, just hoping for no caution. There it is. The 54 goes around on the exit at turn 2. A tire failure, and the caution will fly. Ty Gibbs out here in Indianapolis, as that is going to change a lot. We are in the free pass, so we will get the lead lap back, but everything is going to be all over the place. Some drivers are on the pit lane right now so they can stay out. Some are pitting. So we get our lead lap back. Gibbs is out. He joins Chastain out of the race. Joseph Newgarden actually just in front of us. But now at the front of the grid with 2 to go on the stage, it's Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. Bell and Hocevar row number 2. Bubba Wallace just a little bit further back as we're back underway on the run down towards turn number 1. Keselowski, of course, 1 win on the season. He is pretty thankful he clutched up to get that win, because he would also be in a position to miss the playoffs with these new winners, and the situation with Gilliland and Briscoe trying to race their way into the top 30. If we see a new winner here today in Indianapolis, that will put Briscoe and Gilliland in a position where if they both are in the top 30 in points, they're actually racing each other on points to be the last driver into the playoffs. Christopher Bell gets the lead coming to the final lap of stage 2. We are moving our way through on the inside as quickly as possible to make up for that speeding penalty. Now we drift up the track. Here comes Josh Berry, 3 wide to the inside. We clear him on the exit at turn 2, go 3 wide with John Hunter, and we will get into the top 25 and at turn 3, jumping to the second lane here, trying to go around on the outside of the 21 Wood Brothers machine of Zane Smith, who's had a very quiet rookie season. Of course, Shane Van Gisbergen has been, dominating the Rookie of the Year contender situation this season, but Christopher Bell wins Stage 2 over Keselowski, Hamlin, Hocevar, Bubba Wallace, all in the top 5. We know the race for the win right now is still between the 23 and the 26, but Hocevar with the advantage, but Christopher Bell steals the stage win. Look at this, Hocevar and Bubba actually both electing to pit while everybody else will remain on the racetrack. Is this the situation or the moment where things change and the 23 and the 26 basically eliminate themselves from contention, because now they're at the back of the grid to start stage 3. They have a lot of work to do, but you just saw we drove from the back of the field in 2 laps to nearly the top 20. We're back racing here from stage 3. The view from the pagoda now, of course, an iconic landmark here as Austin Cindric doors himself into the wall there somehow on the entrance into turn number 1. You can kind of feel the intensity building, especially around that 26 of Hocevar, but unless he's able to get his way through the field, then it's not going to be a big deal now. Will we see a new winner or not? I'm hoping not, to be honest with you, but nonetheless, we go down this back straightaway, passing Reddick 3 wide here with Gilliland and Logano, and we'll kind of tuck in behind the 60 of Justin Haley, of course, our former teammate there, a colleague racing all the way back in season 1. And we have, if you guys remember, had that big beef with Justin Haley back in season number 1 there. There's Austin Hill on my inside, and we actually kind of get trapped on the outside here now behind Eric Jones, and on my inside was that 60 of Haley. And so now looking for a chance to the inside, but no, I'm looking for a chance to ruin my race first into the outside concrete wall. We do some damage there. Fortunately, it's pretty minimal, so we just kind of get back into it and stay in it and try to work our way back forward, but someone is holding up everybody, and it's actually the 51. Timmy Hill is holding up everything, and we're starting to see some 3 wide battles, some drivers losing patience. Kyle Busch, they're passing Blaney. Busch, of course, in a must-win scenario for sure now to make the playoffs, and what has turned into a miserable, last, I guess, let's just say 10 races or so for that 99 team. An aggressive move. I saw a hole. We went 3 wide to the inside and actually caught the wall in the process there, swinging the car to the bottom, but it works. We continue our way forward now, 3 wide with the 2 Penske drivers of Blaney, Logano, now 3 wide with Kyle Busch as well as Eric Jones into turn number 3. There's Timmy Hill, and that's why everyone's so slow. You got a Rick Ware car that has no speed. It's the part-time car. We'll pass him hopefully here on the exit of turn 4, and we would do exactly that. Look in the background. You see that blue car on the inside, 3 wide. That's Carson Hocevar. He is on the move. He's on the charge. He's making way better progress right now than Bubba Wallace, but there's just 15 laps to go as we get the view from the Goodyear blimp over top of the track facing turn number 3 and 4 as we continue to drive away from the cars behind, but Carson Hocevar was following. He clears the pack of cars. He's into 8th as we run P7, running down Haley and William Byron. Byron, Haley, both 1 win on the season, lunging to the inside. Look at the momentum we have with the draft, just shy of 200 miles per hour into turn 3. We clear the 60 and the 24 up into the top 5 as I'm just trying to put cars between myself and Carson Hocevar now. Lap 44 of 56, Bell leads the way in these closing laps. Trouble, Rennick blows a tire into the side of the 43. The caution's going to be out here, and this is going to surely make things just interesting. Now, we're going to pit, but the AI likely going to do 2 tires. We're going to do 4 because I just don't see 2 working for me. We see some split strategies. Some do 4, some do 2. Hocevar does 2 tires and Bubba Wallace as well. We will restart P17, so we give up 10 positions. Lots of work to do. Kyle Busch, or sorry, not Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, one of the drivers that took 2 tires. It's 10 laps of racing to go. Christopher Bell, he took 4. He gave up the lead for 4 tires and gives up a top 10 running position. Todd Gilliland just in front. After today, there's 3 races left in the regular season. Right now, the bracket tournament doesn't quite have the intensity right now because the playoff battle is so intense. Who's going to make it into the 16 driver grid at this point with now these different winners that we're seeing? The 34 having a good day that will likely put him into the top 30 in points. Carson Hocevar is leading. He has passed Kyle Larson, and Bubba Wallace is just inside the top 10. Marco Andretti, what a run he has turned himself into here today, as I would shuffle him out of the top 10. But now up the inside of Shane Van Gisbergen, Bubba Wallace is struggling to get through traffic, and I am not going to wait around. I want to see Bubba, of course, win. Him and Reddick both very deserving of being in the playoffs, but the way things are looking, I think they're both going to be out today. Here we go, passing Bubba and Keselowski. We need to beat Keselowski in the bracket tournament here today, and now we're doing exactly that. We're 3 wide with him and his teammate of Justin Haley as we come through out of turn number 1. We'll clear the 60 into turn 2, and we'll clear the 6 as well. More problems. Bowman blows a tire into the corner, and the caution will fly again, forcing a late race dash. 8 laps to go. I think we're going to have probably 4 laps of racing, and we'll be behind Kyle Larson in the number 5, 2 wins on the season for that 5 car. Carson Hocevar is, about to have a historic moment if he can win this race. It's 5 laps of racing, but Andretti Global, 1 win to that team's name. It was a crown jewel win with the Daytona 500 in their first full-time season, and now their potential second win could come today right here, and another crown jewel, and what's, home to Andretti Racing. So this could be a huge moment for Hocevar, his career, and the future of this Andretti Global team. The big draft here is going to pull us straight to the back of the 5. A big shot to the rear bumper of Larson. Hamlin on the inside, having a great run for once here. Hamlin, if he can put a few more of these together before the season ends, or the regular season ends, you never know. He could find a way to victory lane. Nearly into the outside wall out of turn 4. We'll get in behind the number 11 now. We'll give him a shot down this front straightaway, trying to help him. We don't have time to waste. We're going to lunge to the inside now. We need to try and win this race as well. Into turn number 1. We're the first car on 4 fresh tires. Hamlin on the exit of turn 2. We'll clear him. Larson's next. We have the draft from the number 5, and we're going to get a huge run down this back straightaway with the draft. Here we go. To the inside of the Hendrick Cars machine. Into turn 3. We need to clear him here, and we clear him. Up into second.
Go get him. Do whatever it takes here.
Our crew chief, James Small, relays the message, do whatever it takes now as we roll through turn 2, 3 to go, and the gap to Hocevar is not really coming down. I am driving as hard as I can through 3, not really closing again. Hocevar is in control even on 2 tires. Bubba Wallace, unfortunately for him, not a part of the mix. He couldn't get through traffic at the same pace as Hocevar through turn 1, lap 55, 2 to go. Do we make it back to the white flag without a caution? We still aren't really gaining, but here's a good run through turn 2. You can just kind of see the opacity of his name tag getting a little bit thicker, or I guess more less transparent here now. As we go down this back straightaway through turn 3, we close a little bit more. Is there a chance as we go down into turn number 4, just trying to make sure we get right against that white line without actually hitting the apron? We reel in the 26 just ever so slightly. White flag in the air. 0.5 of a second. Do we have anything for Carson Hocevar? Through 1, a solid roll through the center of the corner now, and the gap does come down just a tad bit now. Here we go. This is the big corner, turn number 2. This will set us up for the final half the lap, and we get a good exit again. We are closing, but it's not quite enough. We're within 0.4 of a second into turn number 3. Hocevar starting to fade, but is he gonna hang on as we close again through 3? But I don't think it's gonna be enough. Into turn 4, 1 final series of corners. Carson Hocevar is gonna lead. We close more, but it's not enough. Carson Hocevar is going to punch his ticket into the playoffs, his first win, a crown jewel victory for a home race for Andretti Global. Hocevar wins in Indianapolis. What a day for Carson Hocevar. I really wanted to win that race at the end. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. Bell, Wallace, Larson, the top 5. Todd Gilliland in P9. However, Chase Briscoe, you look at Briscoe, he was down actually in 25th place. And of course, towards the bottom of the grid, the DNFs, Bowman, Gibbs, Chastain. But the playoff grid is where everything changes now. We look at it. Todd Gilliland's into the top 30. He is now in P16 in the playoffs. Alex Bowman, of course, with the win, is in 15th. Hocevar with the win is in. Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, they are out because they don't have wins. And now officially, the only way Bowman, Reddick, or sorry, not Bowman, but Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, the only way they can get into the playoffs is winning a race. Every playoff spot is now taken by a winner. This has turned into one of the most diverse seasons in NASCAR history. The bracket tournament. Well, we beat Keselowski, so we will go up now against Bubba Wallace, who beat Chris Buescher, and Chandler Smith beat Alex Bowman, who DNF'd, and he will go against race winner Carson Hocevar, who beat Christopher Bell. 2 races left in the bracket challenge, 3 races left in the regular season. It is all on the line. This is going to be a heck of an end to the regular season. I'll see you guys in the next one. My home race, we head north of the border towards the Toronto area for the Canada race. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.